From the sands of one of the world's driest deserts, a long-lost civilization is coming back to life. More than 2,000 years ago, a peaceful culture grew and thrived here, in one of the most inhospitable regions on the planet.
Your Grace.
The people were called Nazca. They lived in Peru on an arid, harsh strip of land and survived despite severe droughts, earthquakes, and murderous flash floods. The capital city of Cahuachi, built at the crescent of a fertile river valley, was the center of their universe and the home of their gods. What carried them into oblivion, what caused their capital to fall into ruins, has remained a mystery for centuries. Now, little by little, the painstaking work of archaeologists is bringing this ancient civilization back to life. Discoveries made here may also hold the key to the Nazca lines, as yet inexplicable drawings in the middle of the desert. An immense network of huge yet geometrically perfect designs, completely visible only from the sky. Unique creations whose meaning has continued to entice and escape the best of science. After 2,000 years of silence, what remains of this mysterious and forgotten people? In the south of Peru, a dusty track along the Nazca River, between the Andes and the Pacific Ocean. Giuseppe Orefici, director of Italy's Pre-Columbian Archaeological Research Center, heads the Nazca project. For 17 years now, he's been tirelessly exploring the remains of Cahuachi. The site is huge, almost 10 square miles. It's a ghostly place, covered with sand and alluvial deposits. The Nazca mystery affects all those who come close. Rounded hills hide the sharp edges of the structures which made Cahuachi one of the most impressive cities in pre-Columbian America. Of these buildings, the Great Pyramid is perhaps the most imposing of all. The Great Temple, whose staircase led down towards the river, was here. Between these buildings, corridors, terraces, and squares, a whole city is gradually emerging under the archaeologists' careful hands. For Orefici, the task is equal to the size of the site, colossal, but fascinating and uncertain. For centuries, the location has been pillaged by shameless treasure hunters who have shown no respect for the bodies in the many tombs found here. They've taken away much of the history and left the rest to bleach in the sun. Stripped of their riches and gift offerings and abandoned to the relentless sands, hundreds of silent witnesses point to the enormity of the archaeological task here and the need to act before more is lost. Sometimes a startling discovery provokes the archaeologists beyond mere scientific considerations.
This is what's left after the raiders have been material, ropes, more textiles. There are thousands. All these abandoned relics, it's material that's lost from an historical point of view. It could have helped to reconstruct these people's past, and everything has been destroyed. The raiders' activities are nowhere near stopping. Look at this object, for instance. It's a sling with a variety of colors, a ceremonial sling, very beautiful. The raiders were not interested. They prefer ceramics and the fine textiles that are very popular with international collectors. Every day information is being lost here. Every day pages of history are disappearing that can never be written again. Fortunately, the site is so big, so vast, that our work to collect whatever can be saved is not in vain. We just hope that we can continue our work and save pages and pages in Nazca's history.
Historical detectives, the archaeologists never give up on a case, whatever difficulties they may encounter. Every year for the last 17 years, Orefici has returned to continue the race to save Nazca's heritage from thieves and the ravages of time. The site is too vast to be entirely recovered at once. But season after season, scraps of history are pieced together. This year, a new site has been opened a few feet from the Great Temple. Beneath the sandy crust, the old city reappears. As the team digs, they penetrate the different layers of Cahuachi's past. From the surface layers, dating from the 4th century, down to the city's foundations a few feet below and 8 centuries before. The city was built from sun-dried clay bricks. It was destroyed many times through flooding, earthquakes, or at the whims of the priests who governed here. Each time, Cahuachi was rebuilt on its own ruins. Each rebirth was celebrated with various offerings placed in the foundations of the new constructions. And so the Nazca world is gradually coming to light. An immense city, it was occupied only by and devoted to a cult of gods. Not a single trace of ordinary daily activity has ever been found here. Because the Nazcas could not write, the ceramics and textiles found here are even more valuable. Each shard of pottery is a link to the past, a window on the Nazca spirit. At the end of each day's work, the team took artifacts to a laboratory and storage facility located a few miles from the site. After 17 years, the collection represents an impressive inventory of Nazca culture. Each piece is painstakingly cataloged and analyzed before being fitted into the gigantic puzzle the researchers are trying to resolve. Like an impressionist painting, a portrait of Nazca civilization takes shape. Details, however, are still veiled in mystery. The art on ceramics was exclusively for its purposes and conformed to criteria imposed by the priests. Images represented gods. Patterns, however, were never perfect. In a world ruled by the gods, was perfection reserved only for them? Seafaring divinities reveal the story of a people born between the sea and the mountains, between the Andes and the Pacific Ocean. But many different gods reigned in the Nazca pantheon. Cats, birds, lizards, and snakes. They were gods who showered blessings on men through their noses or mouths. The symbolism is very clear. Serpentine forms and wavy tongues. What a desert people expects first from their gods is water. The Rio Grande and its tributaries were the Nazca's Nile. Apart from extremely rare rains which normally have catastrophic consequences, drought here is the rule, and irrigation a necessity. The irrigation system invented by the Nazcas remains as a testament to their technological acumen. Designed with easy access for cleaning purposes, it is part of an intricate system of waterworks. Canals and filtering galleries called puquillos are used to funnel underground water sources from the Andes. Unmatched in pre-Columbian America, this network still irrigates the whole region. In thanks to their gods, the Nazcas built pyramids on the edge of the desert, now half hidden by the sand. These symbols of greatness beckon scientists and beg to be explored. At the base camp, Giuseppe Orefici holds a weekly meeting with his team. The weather is changing. The team will have to increase the pace.
We are together here after 1 month's work, more or less, and we have to bear one very important thing in mind. After 17 years of excavations here at Kawachi, the 71 sites that have been opened up only represent 1% of the whole site. So even after 17 years, it's still difficult to speak about Kawachi. The climatic conditions and the effects of El Niño have made themselves felt a lot here, this year and last year, and we don't know how things will be next month. Consequently, I hope you understand the efforts we have to make now to finish this year's work as quickly as possible and with the best possible results. That's all now. Thanks very much, everyone, and work well.
Work continues to go well. The team has cleared an extensive area to allow a detailed topographical study. As new areas are discovered, a small portion of the old city reveals itself. Professor Orefici is abruptly summoned to the site just before noon. In sector Y16, a well has been opened, perhaps a tomb. To the archaeologist's surprise, It appears to be blocked by bundles of textiles.
There's a lot of them.
The tension mounts quickly as more are found. The well contains many more textiles than it was first thought, and they're apparently of surprising quality. One of the specialists is intrigued by the first sample, a piece decorated with tiny feathers.
It appears to have been cut out. It's been blackened but not burned. This is probably not a tomb. If there is one, it'll be lower down.
Más adelante, más adelante. Más adelante. ¿No? Ahí está, sí.
Sí, sí. Pero esta mira qué bonito es.
Oh, fantástico. Dios mío.
In the middle of the afternoon, the wind kicks up, but the work must go on. The textiles must be removed before raiders learn of the discovery and come to rob the site. The team must act quickly.
¿Otra persona? Aquí, aquí. Ahí nomás, no, que no lo abran, que no...
Esto tiene algo dentro. Sí, sí, sí. Abre, abre.
Nunca he visto.
I've never seen anything like it. So far we've got 28 pieces of cloth, and this is only the first part. We are now getting to the second lot. All these textiles belong to people of high social standing. They are decorated with divinities and ornithomorphic designs, that is to say, painted birds.
A total of 63 bundles of cloth are recovered that night by the archaeologists. It's the first time painted textiles have been found here. There are many unanswered questions. The textiles appear to be from different eras. Some are much, much older than others. Why would material from different periods be buried together? Analysis of the finds will take months of hard work.
We have to try to save all the information contained in the textiles. Many pieces have been darkened by organic material inside and by the humidity they've been in contact with.
Only a very few such examples exist. Their scarcity is a question of age. The oldest textiles are from the beginning of Nazca civilization. Organic traces show that they have been in contact with corpses and were used as shrouds. Orefici concludes that they have been recovered, gathered into bundles, and ritually reburied, perhaps at a time of change in the religious or ceremonial practices. The mystery only adds to the fascination. These textiles will now be added to the laboratory museum. Even after so many centuries, Nazca art, cotton thread joining llama and alpaca-based wool craftsmanship, is sound. The unusual variety of colors and embroidery shine out under the Peruvian sun as if it were yesterday. This cotton and wool coat decorated with a flying cat and a variety of Nazca religious figures, might have been part of the splendor of Cahuachi's ceremonies over 2,000 years ago. Even older, this funeral cloth, made up of 7 strips and squares sewn together, might have covered the tomb of a woman who died 350 years before Christ. Sewn with cactus needles, these 3-dimensional hummingbirds decorated the border of a ceremonial coat. The colors came from vegetable, animal, and insect pigments, such as crushed caterpillar fixed in human urine. This ceremonial costume is one of the jewels of the collection. On the central strip is a collection of Nazcan divinities. Around them, the people are in procession. Over 500 miniature figures, each one different, even down to their facial expressions. They carry flutes or maracas or fans. One can almost feel the Nazcas come to life with their painted faces and richly colored costumes, singing and dancing before their gods. The great city of Cahuachi lies deserted, hiding beneath a blanket of clay and sand. 1,700 years ago, after 6 centuries of uncontested domination, the Nazca's religious capital fell dramatically into oblivion, almost as if it had been buried alive.
What happened at Cahuachi? Between 300 and 350 AD, there were 2 important events. First, there was a major flood, which was particularly serious. We have found evidence of this in all of our excavations. Then there was an earthquake. An earthquake that would destroy all the temples. We found dead bodies under the walls.
Well, kids, this is it. I'll resume that documentary here in a minute. Or 5, I don't know. Oh boy. I know, I'm supposed to keep those documentaries on so you can sleep. You know what, I'm going to turn it back on and I'll turn the game sound off, turn the documentary back on for you guys, but I might mute it for myself. That's what I'll do.
Which collapsed. The Nazca's religion no longer functioned. Their gods and ceremonial centers no longer functioned. It was then that they abandoned the city. But before they left, because everything was a ritual for them, their whole culture was based on religion. The Nazcas completely buried the ruins under piles of earth. Look at the remains on the highest part of the site. and you'll see that they are covered with a layer of clay that was brought to the top of the embankment by man. That's what makes this a sacred site. Everything, absolutely everything to be found under our feet was deliberately covered by the Nazcans themselves.
1700 years ago, the city of Cahuachi disappeared, buried by the very people who built it. The Nazcas would only survive their capital by another 200 or 300 years before they were assimilated by the Huari, an Andean people with whom they'd always interacted. Before the Inca, the Huari dominated all of Peru.
Oh, it's just such an interesting documentary, though. I don't want to miss any of it.
The fall of Cahuachi led to the decline of its gods and the removal of the priest's power. As a feudal regime took shape, the old gods disappeared, and the faces of men began to appear on the ceramics. In the Nazca conscience, man was freed and would now occupy a more central position. The wind has dropped over the excavation site and work can begin again. In an intermediate layer between two phases of Cahuachi's history, the archaeologists have uncovered the mummy of a young llama. The animal has been sacrificed. This may be a tomb that has escaped the robbers. Next, a collection of pottery comes to the surface, revealing the presence of tombs. This pottery was used as covers for the funeral wells where the dead were buried. With lower limbs folded under the chin, the dead were buried in a fetal position, perhaps as a reminder of the origins of life, or because it was a comfortable position to be in for a long journey. A second tomb reveals a mummy still covered with its shroud. The archaeologists try to free it, but 15 centuries of immobilized waiting make the maneuver somewhat risky. The team's anthropologists decide to make an initial analysis in situ. Dr. Brian Harrison of the University of Oregon.
It's clearly the skeleton of a young woman. You can tell by the shape of the pelvis. She's an adult, but she's not very old, I think. I have not seen any arthritis on the joints. There's excellent preservation of organic material here. This is a fantastic site. The hair is in perfect condition. We can get a lot of information about the population that lived here 1,000 years ago. One way we can tell that she was in good health is by the condition of her teeth. There's no lines. The enamel is very strong. So she was a healthy young woman, probably 20 to 25 years old. So the people we know were fairly short, long black hair, probably muscular from working very hard. And we have evidence from the skeletal materials, particularly the teeth, that they were very healthy people. And also from those same skeletons, we see no evidence of trauma. There was no warfare here.
After so long, such an encounter is a miracle. The body was buried without any particular preparation. Only natural mummification could have preserved the body in this way. The area's sand is rich in salts and nitrates, and without humidity. These mummies are a mine of information for anthropologists. Professor Andrea Drusini from the University of Padua has been able to study 550 individuals so far.
As with every population, we have come across various diseases: anemia, traces of malnutrition, children's illnesses, and other infectious diseases. According to statistics concerning this population, it can be said that their life expectancy was around 37-38 years. This is not significantly different than 19th century Europe, where the average lifespan was 42 years, and yet there is almost 2,000 years difference between the two populations.
Soon after work resumes on the site of the tombs, a new body appears. Unlike the others, it is lying on the ground in a horizontal position. Dr. Drusini now assumes the role of coroner. The skeleton's hands are tied in front of the body.
Questa posizione è molto inusuale.
Può essere naturale questa posizione?
No, probabilmente si è trattato di un'esecuzione e il corpo poi è rimasto in questa posizione.
Ripiegato sotto la pancia. È molto strano questo.
E secondo me c'è stato un colpo molto forte che ha praticamente fratturato la base del cranio. Però dall'andamento della frattura sembra che sia stato inferto dal davanti e non dal dietro. Come quando è appoggiata la testa, capisci? Il collo si arqua.
Ma non è fuori del suo posto?
No, no.
Frattura ben grande.
Beh, Giuseppe, è stato un colpo proprio.
Yeah, no to heck with that. These guys are bothering me with their whispering.
Your Grace, Your Majesty.
I don't like it. Alright, so my first priority is to eliminate their means of delivery for nuclear weapons. So here we have a problem. This city has a nuclear submarine armada in it. Which means I have to take the city to eliminate that submarine. Here's one outside it. And it takes a lot of firepower to take down one. This one, it's going to take. See, like this destroyer will eventually take this city. But look at all them nuclear submarines I have to contend with. Like, I can't, I need to be able to sink them all in one turn. I think you guys might know where this is headed. I might have to nuke him. And really, I don't know if it's possible, but I was trying to take him out in one turn, honestly. Like, I can get that, those two. Yeah, but see, his territory's so big, like, I don't have anybody that can get to this, although I have paratroopers. Maybe they can get there. I have to have sight, but they might make it. I don't know. Oh wait, they can't take cities. They can just shoot at things. That's great. This guy has a big army, a big military. I do too, but if I do this all through conventional means, it is going to be bloody, messy, nasty, dirty. I mean, nuclear wars too. It just takes a lot longer to recover those cities if you nuke them. It takes a long time until those cities will be useful. I mean, damage. I'm right here for your cord. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot more challenging if I use conventional warfare, but there's no guarantee that he won't use nukes. And look at here, he has a jet fighter protecting himself. They don't. I don't see any way around this. He's just too strong. I mean, yeah, I brought lots of ships and lots of army here and kind of lots of army down here. But, like, honestly, this is insane. A conventional war is more insane than a nuclear war, and that's insane. But then it's like, I feel like I'm breaking character and breaking immersion. Because, like, really, is this something you would do? I mean, damn. I mean, this is a war of liberation, and this guy is engaged in terrorism, and it's really bad. He's a dictator. Pedro. A monarchy. He's a fucking dictator. Look at him. He's a dictator. Oh, what is that new report on him? Maybe I should have read that before I started the war. Oh, man. Well... Fuck nuggets. Let me see what happens if I turn the game music on.